Hey, 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 it's Fat Albert.
Hey,
It's Steven Shoemaker. We are here back again. Another episode. A lot to discuss. We have Super Bowl week coming up. The NBA trade deadline is in about 4 hours or so. But Jay, how's everything going with you?
everything's good, man. I recently got a new haircut, and I don't know if you noticed because I'm looking figgity fresh.
I saw something seem different about you. I didn't know if it was your teeth or your
Yeah,
necklace or something, but it looks good, man.
this is my cool jersey to rep the best team in New York
Uh-oh. Is that
City.
an RJ Barrett jersey?
It is, yeah.
I figured.
This is a knockoff, but these jerseys were so sick. The FDNY ones. It's too bad our team sucks, but we'll get into that later. So I go and get this haircut, right? So I go to this barbershop. It's down the street from me here in New York City. Love this place. My main man, Isaac, hooks it up. He gives me a great haircut every time. The only difference for this time is usually they have in a lot of barbershops, they have like a TV in front, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah, like they have like commercials running. I don't know, like whatever's on. It's like basically like white noise in the background. So this time, so Isaac goes, takes the remote. I'm like, what's he doing? We're about to have this haircut. And he throws on Aquaman. And so Isaac and I were just broing out watching some Aquaman while he's cutting my hair. It was a really interesting experience, but I'm just glad that we could share our love for superheroes together in such an intimate moment. You know what I mean?
I thought this was gonna go in some kind of sports direction, so
It wasn't even anything with sports now.
I get my hair cut at a saloon. A
Oh,
little on the pricey side, but hey, they wash your hair, they give you a good rub down,
yeah.
maybe a free beer here and
Little
there. So
Robert Kraft action.
a little Robert, I don't know about that, but
Yeah. This is a
any,
PG-13 show.
anyways, Jason.
Anyway.
So the Super Bowl is on Sunday, and
Mhm.
I'm very excited for it because it's two of the top teams. But something I've been pondering lately is why do you think the Super Bowl is like such a big deal? Like
Mhm.
it's one of the only sports that is like a one and done game, like basketball, baseball,
Yep.
hockey. It's always a 7 game series. So maybe the fact that it's a one and done game makes it that much more exciting. But it kind of feels like a national holiday almost. But at the same time, I've always like thought to myself, like, why is this like such a big deal? I feel like it's
Mhm.
just like one game to declare like a champion. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's an interesting point. I mean, yeah, it does kind of feel like everyone kind of gathers. Like the Super Bowl has something for everyone. I feel like whether you are just there for the commercials because usually they're hilarious, whether you're there for like the halftime show because it's these major performers. Like I feel like other sports don't do that actually. Like they're I mean, maybe I'm wrong with the NBA finals. Maybe they have someone, but it's a lot less exciting because, like you said, like there's a 7 game series. So it's pretty hard to predict which game like is going to be the last one. And that's the one that everyone wants to be tuned into. Right. So like you think of like even like the Cavaliers Warriors when they used to duel it out, like the Cavaliers came back, right? Who would have predicted that if they had like this crazy halftime show because they thought that the Warriors were gonna take it, So
Yeah,
I kind of think it's it's the unpredictiveness of also like I don't know, it's just I don't know, I just love football. Football is just such an exciting sport. Not I mean
yeah,
basketball is my obviously my number one. That's kind of where our friendship blossomed.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
also if your team's in it, it's a whole nother story. Like you were obviously younger, but you got to experience two Super Bowls in your life.
mhm.
I've got to experience two Super Bowls, even though we only won one of them. But the younger one with McNabb, I wasn't as into the Eagles at that point, but
Yep,
it's still very thrilling and just like the whole city comes together. Everybody's wearing their merchandise, and
exactly.
it's just the whole game. You're like sweating and you're nervous, and you don't quite get that with other sports,
Yeah.
unless with the championship game. My team has never gotten there, the Sixers, but like a game 7 is probably like
It's probably
the
the closest.
closest to like a
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
I would say like It's interesting. Like a great comparison is when I went to the playoff game. It was the first one in 9 years, right? Knicks last year, definitely not this year. It was the first one in 9 years, and basically, it's like New York City was like starving for a playoff appearance, let alone victory. So when I was at the Garden, it was the most electric thing I've ever been to in my life. Like hands down. I mean, granted, it's like the Gardens. Like the Garden is always awesome like that, and it's rocking. But it was hands down the craziest event I've ever been to. However,
Even last year in the
mhm,
playoffs, even though they got spanked by the Hawks, the
totally.
atmosphere in MSG was like incredible. You went to
Oh,
one of the
unreal.
games, right?
Yeah. I went to the. That's what I'm saying. Like, I went to the first game, and it was nuts. And but the thing is, even though they lost, this is the kind of the point I'm making. They lost, right? But there, you know that there's another game. Like there's
Yeah.
multiple other games, so it's not as exciting. Even though it came down to that last shot, it was a super awesome game.
Here's Trae Young at his finest right here. A step back 30-footer. And the appropriate, you are in the Garden. You might as well take a bow.
Not appreciated by Knick fans.
It's all right. You got us too.
He did. He did. Damn, I hate Trae Young. Oh my god, how do you
I do
become
too.
villain number one in New York City? Is doing exactly what he did.
Exactly. But yeah, so actually, I had a quick question for you. That I was thinking of before we get into our Super Bowl predictions.
Yes, sir.
If you watched the Pro Bowl last week, the
No, I did
AFC,
not. I won't
yeah,
give the
it was
NFL money for that.
it's not an enjoyable game to watch because it's like I think we played more physical games at recess than they did in the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah, we got
The
after it.
AFC won the game. I think the best part of the whole game for me was watching Mac Jones run for the non-touchdown and doing the gritty. That was so
Yeah,
funny.
I put that
Ultra,
on our social media page
yeah.
probably 4 different times.
Got some green in front of him. Now has it. I don't know where they're going to spot him. Mac's going to run right out of the stadium. Mac Jones.
Something I thought was really interesting is with most All-Star games, I'm pretty sure it's in every sport. What are your thoughts on potentially the NFL moving the Pro Bowl to after week 9 and having the Pro Bowl be played then? So then it
I
might be a
mean,
little bit more competitive potentially.
they still can't do that. Like, it'll never be competitive because people like these athletes train their whole lives for this. We've kind of talked about it a little bit a few times. Um, like they're not gonna throw it away in a meeting. Like the Sean Taylor clip when he absolutely laid out a guy in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Like that will never happen again. Like these athletes, their money or their bodies are like their jobs. So if they got hurt, that's it, right? Like there have been multiple injuries that have completely changed the landscape of someone's career. So I really doubt that anyone will take it like completely seriously and more competitively, even if it's mid-season, because they still don't want to get hurt. Like that's their jobs.
Yeah, especially with the guys who make the Super Bowl. They'd obviously rather play in a Super Bowl than a Pro Bowl, but
Exactly.
they don't get to experience playing in it because of that. And I think more and more players over time, I think there have been a couple this past year who said, I'm not, if they made it, they're like, I'm not going to play because
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just like two-hand touch, I don't want to risk hurting myself
Like Aaron Rodgers.
if I'm like trade bait right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's interesting to think about. But getting ready, Super Bowl in 3 days coming up, believe it or not.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I'm just like so drawn right now. Like my 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 money's on the Rams, I feel like, but I'm just so drawn because I hear people saying like, "Oh, don't sleep on Joe Burr. Like he's gonna come out and
Yeah.
do what he does." But then I hear people saying like, "Oh, the Rams are gonna cover the -4 spread pretty easily."
Mm.
What do you think? Like, what are your thoughts heading into this game?
I feel like I mean I'm riding with Joey Burr, but I mean you have I mean the Rams right now are the favorites, but not by much. I haven't really looked at the spread, but I mean I did see that they were the favorites. I can't imagine it's more than like I guess their home team technically. I don't know. Are they -3? Have you seen that?
I believe it's -4 for the Rams. And
-4. So they're not really much of the favorites. I just can't see. I mean, I imagine the Rams probably will win this, but like I'm gonna root wholeheartedly for Daddy Joe, and I want to see a cup of Joe at the end of this winning the MVP of this game. He's just like, I mean, what an awesome story. But you know, I think did we touch on this, that like how cool of a story it is from the two different sides of like a rebuild? Have we talked about that?
I don't think so.
So I think like what's so interesting about this matchup is like you have like the Rams, right, who traded away all their picks and don't have a first round pick until 2025, I believe. I might have to be checked on that.
Yeah, we might have touched on this a little bit.
Oh, have we?
Maybe a little
And
bit, yeah.
that Joey B was able to turn it around in the first year that AJ Green wasn't there.
Yeah, just the whole with a team either doing the whole either rebuilding with drafting or doing it through trading or doing a little bit combination of both.
Plus, he's the hometown kid, so like I really just love Joe Burrow, and I love the work he put into it. But I mean, you can't deny how unbelievably talented the Rams are.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think to win that game they need a big game out of Jamar Chase, but I think Jalen Ramsey's probably going to shut him down. Aaron Donald and Von Miller coming at you full speed. It's not going to be easy for them, but
that's their weak point too. I feel like is the O-line, and like
that's their weak point for sure.
Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller. That's scary. Yeah, that D-line's crazy. How did they have Michael Brockers too at one point?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And Indomitable too.
Yeah, the recruiting that they've had. But it's interesting because, you know, it's just like who's going to step up in this game. We expect like the main stars to kind of show. An ex-Giant, as you know, I've seen a lot of posts about
there's two extra.
Say your prayers for Eli Apple for what Cooper Kupp's about to do to him.
Yeah, I saw that too. I hate Eli Apple.
I don't know if they have a better option at cornerback if they're going to be putting Eli Apple on Cooper Kupp instead of putting him on like OBJ or something.
I don't know. I mean, first of all, whoever Eli Apple is on, the opposing receiver will torch them. Eli Apple is one of the most sorry cornerbacks I've ever seen in my life. On every team he's been on, he's played better on the Bengals, and in fairness to him. But like,
I could be wrong, but I have an interesting anytime touchdown score. I think most of the attention is going to be on Cooper Kupp and OBJ, and they'll like bring them in with a short route, and then Van Jefferson's just going to sprint deep, and Staffy's going to hit him. So that could be an interesting anytime.
Is that one you put money on?
Yeah, it could be.
I have Stafford over 6 yards rushing.
Yeah, I was watching a video on that. That's actually part of my job. One of the videos they were talking about was different prop bets to take. They said the past 4 quarterbacks the Bengals have given up 10 plus rushing yards to.
Is that really?
I believe so. Stafford over 5.5 rushing yards seems pretty doable.
Stafford doesn't run though. Like it's just like when he needs to scramble out of the pocket.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it would have hit last week. Stafford, I think, had like probably 20 yards or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Who knows? Do you think? So what's your prediction?
Like I said, I'm so drawn. I there must be a compilation of them. I feel like over the years I've seen so many Simpsons posts about how the Simpsons different episodes predict different game scores or different things that happen, and they're like, "Oh, the Simpsons predicted this." So of course, one pops up. I saw the other day of the Bengals getting to the Super Bowl and beating a team from LA 34-31. So just like all these posts I'm seeing and all these people talking about how the Bengals are going to win this has got me a little nervous, but I have to ride with my gut, and I think the Rams are just too talented. I know Stafford has had a history this past season of making stupid throws, but it's the most important game of his career. I think he has to, just bring it. He's got the supporting cast around him. I'm not 100% sure on what I think the final score will be. I think it'll be very close. I think it'll be a high scoring game. I don't know what the over under is. I feel like it's probably like 60 or something, but I'd probably say it could easily be like I don't know. This probably wouldn't hit the over, but something like 27-21 Rams, something like that.
Mhm. The Simpsons thing isn't true, by the way. Someone photoshopped it.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about that. I was like, there's no way they keep finding these. Like that has to be like fake.
Well, so they've actually been correct multiple times. Similarly, like a Back to the Future, almost to the exact year they were off by one. Predicted the Chicago Cubs in the World Series, which is nuts, because they were shit for so bad. Sorry, for so long. But the Simpsons predicted the Donald Trump election, the coronavirus outbreak, the 9/11 attacks, and the Omicron variant. Also, like they predicted all of that. So it's not like outlandish to think that at some point they just decided the Bengals are going to somehow be in the Super Bowl. But this one I think was a third party. Someone just decided to put that on there.
Hey man, the Simpsons movie is definitely in my top 5 of favorite cartoon movies of all time. Obviously, SpongeBob being number one. But I never really watched the show that much. I was always more into like Family Guy. But
Simpsons is a classic. I mean, the Spider Pig.
Oh,
Can you beat that song? I don't think so.
Watch out for Spider Pig. So yeah, that's my prediction for the game. I think MVP if the Rams win, probably Cooper Kupp. That's probably my guess.
You think so? I feel like they always give it to quarterbacks,
except
they do
always give it to quarterbacks. Yeah, but quarterback or a defender, it kind of just depends on who shows out. But something about
Von Miller won it a few years ago.
Von Miller won it, yeah, the year the Broncos spanked the Panthers.
Cam Newton.
So those are my predictions for that, and I'll run through some other predictions real quick, and then I'll let you give me your predictions. Better quarterback performance, I think, in this game. It really, like, I don't know if it's possible for I guess it is possible for Joe Burrow to have a better quarterback performance, but for the Rams still to win the game. But with the Rams defense, I think they're just going to be giving them hell the whole game. So I think Stafford will probably perform a little bit better than him to win that Super Bowl. Better running back performance. Neither team, I feel like, is going to have much of a run game in this game, but probably Joe Mixon will show a little bit more than Cam Akers will. And then better wide receiver performance. I think just Cooper Kupp's going to take over. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will do their thing. I think I'd like to see a good game out of OBJ, but Cooper Kupp is just so talented.
I think. And who do you think is MVP overall?
Cooper Kupp.
So I think QB performance, I actually think it'll be Joey Burr. The reason I feel like it'll be Joey Burr is I think that Matt Stafford, you can basically count on him throwing like one very, very errant pass a game. He got really, really lucky. That last game, it went through the defender's hands, like hit him in the chest against San Fran. Tart. Sorry, I don't remember his first name. So he gets really lucky. He got really lucky on that, but I feel like he's going to make a couple decisions that might result in some like if I had to guess, I bet you he'll throw an interception this game. I think the Bengals defense is actually pretty underrated for what they have, like with Trey Hendrickson, and they have some pretty solid DBs back there, not named Eli Apple, and like Jesse Bates. I think better running back performance. I agree with you. I think Joe Mixon will probably be better. Cam Akers is still coming back. And I also think they're going to take a three-headed committee approach for this game to keep them fresh, especially with Darrell Henderson being able to be activated for this game. So I could see them doing something with Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, and Sony Michel this game. just kind of give them different looks because they all bring something completely different to the table.
Yeah.
But I do think Joe Mixon is I think he's a stud. So I feel like he'll probably take over, even though the Rams defense is very good and better receiver. I totally agree. I think the Rams receivers in general will outperform the Bengals, not because of talent per se, but I think Cooper Kupp is going to have a field day. And I think that Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, wherever Jalen Ramsey is lined up, they're going to get shut down. Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback in the game, and I could not. It's probably him and Jair Alexander, and I wouldn't be convinced otherwise. So that's my thinking.
Yeah. Something that's interesting to think about is our eyes are all set on Stafford and Burrow, but something that for some reason that crosses my mind when it comes to the Super Bowl, maybe because it happened with Nick Foles, happened with Tom Brady, sort of. But if Aaron Donald gets one big crack at Joe Burrow and he goes down, that means Brandon Allen, I believe, is the backup. He comes in. Or if Stafford went down, I think Wolford is their backup. John Wolford might be his name.
He still?
I believe so. I think he's their backup. So it's just
who would be the better backup?
Who would be the better backup? Because it's like at that point, these guys have to come ready to play. And it's like,
yeah,
they're probably thinking like when they're on the sidelines, like, they're totally tuned in. Like they're calling plays and they're involved in the whole offensive scheme and they have to be ready to, get loose and throw. And the second they see that happen, it's like they're probably in their head thinking, like, holy shit, like I'm about to play in the Super Bowl. Like I got to step it up. It's like you can't just hand the ball off. You can't just do dinky little checkdowns. You got to come ready to play. So
yeah, has that ever happened in recent memory?
It has happened in the Super Bowl before. But not like in our lifetime. I don't think so.
God, that's so crazy. Yeah. I mean, Brandon Allen is terrible. That's like the virtue of having such a good backup QB is like,
yeah,
worst case, like, and this is it. This is worst case. You're able to bring him in.
I think the most recent one, probably as close as it gets, is when Tom Brady took over for Drew Bledsoe, Drew Bledsoe took over for Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, got them to the Super Bowl, and Brady was
Brady came back
the starter, and he won it for him.
Yeah, that was basically like the send off of Drew Bledsoe in a Patriots uniform before he goes to the Bills.
Exactly. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an exciting game. Do you have any plans for the Super Bowl?
So we're doing like a little thing here. I mean, you're welcome to come, by the way. I mean, I just figure you probably had something in Philly. But
yeah, I don't know. I'll find something better to do than come see you and Henry.
Yeah, makes sense. Henry's not worth it. No,
but it's exciting. Get some wings going, some pizza, some beer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. God, I mean, they've really. Oh, did you see this? That the in Cincinnati, or maybe it's actually all of Ohio, they're having off.
The next day.
Yes, for the Super Bowl.
That
should be a thing. I mean, I know it's kind of ridiculous, but it should be. It should be like.
Yeah, it's like definitely if they win, you should be able to take the day off to go celebrate. But then it's like if they lose, who wants to go to being miserable? So,
well, you need a day to like, I don't know, get over it. Like I feel like that's still, you're probably drunk all day. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, look what happened to you after the Super Bowl win.
Oh boy,
that was a disaster.
Well, that was the parade, but
that was the parade.
The Super Bowl too. If you remember, I was wearing an Eagles costume.
I wasn't there.
Eagle. You weren't?
I was in Dublin.
Oh right, yeah, I do remember that.
Watching on a laptop, and I didn't know who to root for because I hate both teams.
Yeah, well, I was dressed as an eagle. I was a drunk eagle, and hey, we got the job done. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl this Sunday. So let's get into a little bit of NBA talk.
Yes, sir.
Trade deadline, as I said, is in like 4 or 5 hours or so from now. It's at 3:00 today. So it's gonna be interesting to see what trades will be squeezed in. Let's cover a little bit of the trades that have happened so far within the past week or so. and how they've impacted teams. One of the bigger ones we can get into, which kind of blew my mind a little bit, was CJ McCollum being traded to the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
They got Larry Nance Jr., Tony Snell as well. And in exchange, the Trailblazers got Josh Hart, who played really well for the Pelicans over the past couple of years. Thomas Satoransky, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Didi Luzada, who I've never heard of, a first-round pick, and 2 future second-round picks as well. And we'll get into these players. Some of these players got involved in another trade as well. But McCollum going to the Pelicans, man, is like interesting because I'm interested to see what he does this rest of the season for them, because the Pelicans aren't a playoff team.
It's such a weird trade.
Assuming Zion's out for the year, but they're still a scrappy team. Like him playing along with Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, it could bring a little bit of a spark to their team. But McCollum, I didn't think McCollum. There were rumors all year about him being traded
for the past few, actually.
Yeah, but him going to the Pelicans, what do you make of that?
I kind of think that. So I think it really doesn't make sense from either side, to be honest. Like, the Pelicans' new general manager is blowing it up, right? It's obvious. They wouldn't trade CJ otherwise. He's supremely talented and very gifted scorer and a great leader. And he's also Damian Lillard's like best friend on that team. So I feel like from that perspective, it's kind of weird that they're building around, like, Damian Lillard's one of my favorite players in the entire NBA. Like, no doubt about it. Right? No doubt about it.
Same time.
He's one of the most clutch players probably ever. With that said, I don't understand why they would build around a 31-year-old point guard who is coming off a very injured season. I feel like it's super weird. Like that
I
respect
lung.
What?
Yeah, the collapsed lung this past year.
Like, I respect the fact that they're super loyal to Dame the same way Dame is super loyal to them. But if they're going to do a full-on rebuilding around a 31-year-old, I feel like is a super odd way to do it. Like, if you're going to rebuild, just blow it up. Like, you'll get so many. Look at the Rockets, what they did for James Harden, even though they still got gypped. Like, they blew it up. They got Jalen Green, right, who has not done amazing this year, but I think he has a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
Like, they had to. So I don't really understand that side of it. I love Josh Hart since he was at Villanova, but still doesn't make sense in their, like, with what they're doing. They'll probably even look to move him again. The first round pick is probably what he's worth right now. And the 2 seconds. Larry Nance, I think, is actually a nice pickup as well. From the Pelicans side of it, I also don't understand it. Like, the Pelicans side of it is like, maybe they'll make a push for the play-in tournament. But, like, is that really – that's kind of weird. Like, that they were willing to sell those assets. It's not like they're an amazing team. They're still not going to make the championship. You know what I mean? Like, Zion, future Nick, I mean, can't count on that.
It could be a step in the right direction, though. Like, if Zion gets his act together and he comes back healthy and dominant, and they have McCollum and Brandon Ingram, and somehow can bring in one more All-Star, it could put them in the right direction. But
potentially, I think it's like, I don't know. I mean, I really like CJ, so like and I like the fit too, because I think it's Brandon Ingram's team right now. Jonas Valanciunas is a very solid player, and then, I mean, losing those role players, I actually really like Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who's Shay's cousin, Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin. So he's a nice piece, but I don't know. Do you think there's a winner? Like, who would you grade as or like, if you were going to grade, let's just do it that way, actually. So if you're going to grade both sides of it, right, how would you grade the Pelicans and how would you grade Portland?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty even trade. Like, I'd probably give the Pelicans, like, I don't know. I'd probably give them like a B, and then Portland probably like a B2, a B minus. I mean, they got some good acquisitions out of it, but I don't know. I just feel like it's more like it was more of a trade for the future. Like, it's neither of these. This trade's not going to help either team.
I feel like it doesn't move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it like the Pelicans. I'd probably give. I think they probably. I mean, I can respect the fact that they're trying to compete. So like, I'd probably give them like a C plus, and Portland I'd give like a C. I don't think it's worth much more than that. But then, would you like to state what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with until the trade deadline hits 3 o'clock, doesn't matter where you go, home isn't home until 3 o'clock hits today. But
That's right.
yesterday, Woj bomb. Everyone's on their on Twitter on Woj's website, constantly refreshing. He
Shams has
dropped.
really not been great this year, by the way. Quick aside.
Say that again.
Like, I saw, you know who Shams is, right? Shams
Sham guy. Yeah.
Yes. So someone wrote like Shams is basically just taking a huge L this year towards Woj. Like Woj has come out with all of this news, and Shams is always a step slow.
Yes, he's Woj 2.0. I won't even give him that glory. But yeah. So yesterday afternoon, and this was a pretty interesting trade to me because it goes to show doesn't matter how loyal you are to a team, you could get traded at any point. Business is business.
Business is business.
So the Jazz get involved in a 3-team trade with the Spurs and the Trailblazers, and the Jazz get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who thought his home was going to be Portland, but now he's going to the Jazz.
Yep.
They get Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Huncho. But they got him from the Spurs. He goes to the Jazz to, add a little depth to their roster. The Spurs get Satoransky from Portland, who thought he was going to be in Portland, along with a second-round pick. So that doesn't really help the Spurs out at all much. And then Portland, which is the biggest one, is they get Joe Ingles, who, put up a very emotional message, just talking about his whole career he's been with the Jazz, and everything he's done for them. And he's such just a scrappy player. He's a well-rounded, all-around player.
Yeah, totally.
He had a season-ending injury this year, so he's done for the year, which I thought was interesting because I know you can't trade in 2K, but in real life, I didn't know if you were able to trade someone if they're injured or not. But I guess you can. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Actually, like I wasn't 100% sure, but then I thought it was super. I mean, it's weird, like to include him in a deal if I'm pretty sure he's a free agent next year, and he also is out with an ACL injury. Like, I don't get why he would be a part of it unless it's just to have the salaries match, which is probably why. But yeah, so it's so funny because like the only reason the Jazz were a part of this deal is to try to replace the fact that Joe Ingles just got hurt. And I really like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but like I don't really think it's another one of those moves that like it's interesting, but I don't think that it's anything that like moves the needle. Like I don't really think this is like the role player that's going to suddenly boost the Jazz into real contention.
It provides nothing more than depth for them because they already have Conley and Mitchell, so it's just like a guy to come off the bench. I think give you some good minutes when your star players are resting. Yeah, it's nothing more than that. And then the Trailblazers with Ingles also got Elijah Hughes out of Syracuse. He's a good bench player. He'll give him some scrappy minutes. And they got a second round pick as well. But kind of talking about with the Pelicans, not the Pelicans, the Trailblazers, and what they're trying to do. Well, they bring in Joe Ingles, who's not even going to play till next season. So, and he only has, so many years left in him. So I guess, they got another draft pick, but it's interesting to see, like, if they're really rebuilding, they're going to have to do something big with Damian Lillard because I feel like that's their only, like, trade bait left. He's made it clear he doesn't want to be traded, but, as I stated before, business is business. So,
yeah. It's just like, again, like the way that they're rebuilding is so odd. Like they still have Nurkic, who they'll probably, I guess, try to shop.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's so weird to me.
Anthony Simons has been hooping for them. He's been playing so well.
He's been great.
They beat the Lakers last night. The Lakers blew another game.
I mean, what's new?
What else is new? But that was a interesting 3-team trade.
And then this one was a blockbuster, and we were DMing about this because this one is just, to me, is a disaster trade. But the Kings, this whole offseason, this whole season, they have been adamant that their untouchables were Tyrese Halliburton, and that's basically it. Like the others were, I don't think that they're bad enough where it's a fire sale, but they basically struggle. They're a disaster franchise. They struggled to get Marvin Bagley to play. Then they wouldn't play him starter minutes, and he's the number 4 overall pick 3 years ago. Tyrese Halliburton was a top 10 or top 12 pick. I'll have to look into that. Like 2 years ago, and no one could understand why he went so low. He's one of the most gifted pure shooters, even though it's a really weird form. And he's an amazing point guard who's got size, and he's really good at passing. Very high IQ. So then the Kings did what they always do. They traded him for not as much of a return as I think that they probably should have gotten. And so the Kings in this trade got Domantas Sabonis, who's 2-time All-Star, very good player,
very scrappy
awesome power forward. Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday.
Sorry.
On holiday. Second round pick, which that's
great song, by the way.
Holiday.
Yeah.
That also was in this the Simpsons movie. Remember when Green Day is like sinking?
The American Idiot funeral.
Yeah. And they're just like sinking into the toxic waste while they're playing. Oh my God, I love Green Day. And that movie is so funny. Anyway, and then the Pacers get Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, who is an awesome shooter, has had a down year for sure, but is amazing shooter. I think his career average is about 40% from 3. And then Tristan Thompson, who's a very good rebounder as well, who hasn't really done much, but he hasn't done much even when he got a contract from the Cavaliers. So, what do you make of this trade? And do you think it really adds much to either team? What do you think?
Neither of these teams are playoff contenders. They're both pretty bad. The Pacers have, we're dealing with injuries all season long. So bringing in someone as talented as Tyrese Halliburton will bring a little bit of a spark to their team. Like you said, Buddy Hield hasn't done a whole lot for them, but when he's clicking, he's a hell of a shooter.
Totally.
I know you think that the Pacers won this trade, but I think it's just so pretty similar. I wouldn't give either of them a high grade. The Kings got an all-star and Domantas Sabonis, but he's had to deal with some injuries this year too. So it's not really
redundant. I just feel like he's so redundant with Marvin Bagley. That's why I don't get it. So my thinking, and
I mean, that's going to be a hell of a pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis.
Oh, yeah. And he played really well last night, too, if you saw that. He had 22 points.
Yeah. But other than that, it just doesn't bring a whole lot of depth to their teams, either team, really. I remember at one point the Sixers were shopping with the Kings to see what they could get. And it's funny you said that Halliburton was untouchable, because I think at one point the Kings might have offered us him, Buddy Hield, and a first-round pick, which is a lot for Simmons. And the Sixers were like, no, he's better than all that. So they said
we need 3 first-round picks and an all-star.
Something like that. But
yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out great.
No, I just feel like I really like Domantas Sabonis. I think he's a very talented player. He's pretty young. He's probably 26, maybe, something like that. I just feel like he's redundant, and the Kings don't make any sense, at all. they're not. They're also in the same kind of stage as like the Pelicans, where like the best they're probably shooting for is the play-in tournament. Which, if you're shooting for the play-in tournament, that's kind of embarrassing that you just gave up your like what was your future point guard. But it also, I mean, the whole pick of Davian
Mitchell.
Davian Mitchell like made no sense in the first place because they had those two other point guards. They just extended De'Aaron Fox. Like it didn't make any sense at all. And that's the Kings for you, basically.
The Pacers are another team that are just kind of shipping everyone away because they get rid of their all-star and Sabonis. Miles Turner's on the trading block right now. I mean, he's been an injury machine the past couple of years.
And
then recently, this trade made absolutely no sense to me. They get rid of Karis LeVert, who's probably their most talented player on that team, for Ricky Rubio, who's probably, I'm pretty sure he's out for, if not the whole season, most of the season.
I don't understand it either.
So I don't know what the Pacers are doing.
I think they maybe just wanted to. I mean, for that one, the Cavaliers. Where the hell did they come from?
They're a playoff team without Ricky Rubio, with what Darius Garland's doing, and then on top of that, they bring in Karis LeVert. Like they're not going to be an easy team to get through in the first round.
They're really like. What an interesting team. Because Darius Garland, if you looked at him his first couple years, like out of Vandy, you probably would have been like, he's kind of a bust. Like he didn't do anything. I think he was the number 10 pick. Didn't do anything. And he was also kind of a redundant piece after they drafted Colin Sexton like the year before. And then there was all that trade speculation of maybe Colin Sexton will get traded. Didn't happen. And then look what they've put together. They get Jared Allen for basically pennies.
I mean, he wasn't anything special on the Nets, and his afro.
I thought he was talented.
He was talented, but his afro pisses me off. But I never thought too highly of him. But he's really developed well, and he's
Evan Mobley.
Yeah,
awesome
Evan Mobley, rookie of the year probably, and Jared Allen, in many ways, deserved to be an all-star this year with what he's been doing.
100%. And then Karis LeVert, man. They're a tough team.
They're gonna be a scary team. I would not like to see in the playoffs.
Yeah,
very underrated. Another trade that happened. Portland's been really active with the trades. They got Eric Bledsoe and Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, not Keyshawn Johnson. Don't get him confused with the receiver. Keon Johnson and a second-round pick from the Clippies for Norman Powell and Robert Covington. Interesting trade because Powell, I think, is a stud. Covington's one of the best defensive players in the league. That brings a whole
down year, though.
Yeah, he's having a down year, but it brings a whole new dynamic to that team if they have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but both of them are out. So, what do you make of this trade?
It's another kind of weird trade. Like Keon Johnson, I'm almost positive just got drafted this year. I'm pretty sure because, if I'm not mistaken, I'm even going to look it up because I'm pretty sure the Knicks picked him first and then was traded the day of the draft. I knew it, yeah. So he was out of Tennessee. He was literally drafted this year. So I don't really understand.
First round pick, I'm pretty sure.
That might be true. A late first round pick. It's really weird. I don't know. Eric Bledsoe is like, Justice Winslow.
He hasn't been good since he was on Duke.
Yeah, what a bust he's been. That was a real bummer too because I was such a high Justice Winslow person. And Duke won, but I guess Jahlil Okafor people were also. And then how do you work out on those Sixers?
I don't want to talk about it.
Keon Johnson, I think, is a good pickup for them. He's just obviously a young piece. He's super athletic. Like ridiculously dynamic, and a second round pick is like, Norman Powell, I really like.
Yeah, I
really like that pickup for the Clippers. Ever since he was on the Raptors,
I think the Clippers won this trade for sure.
I think so too. I think. Robert Covington doesn't do it for me. Especially
he's a good defensive body to have out there.
It's just like they're not contending. So if I'm them, I would try to flip Covington and I keep Norman Powell, who's like a fairly young. he's kind of a stud. Like I
Yeah.
really like Norman Powell.
He was balling out
Yeah.
in Portland with the absence of when McCollum was out with the long injury and Lillard's been out, so he needed to step up, and he was averaging probably close to 20 points a game.
And he was
So
awesome for the Raptors the year before that too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say
So, yeah.
pretty even, I guess.
Pretty even trade, yeah. And that's pretty much the trades that have happened in the past week or so. Keep your eye out on Twitter, just everything for any trades that'll happen in the next 4 or 5 hours or so.
Mhm.
But just like some other players to throw out there, which we'll talk about. Obviously, I have like a list of players I was looking at, but obviously the main ones right now that everyone's looking at is like what is going on with the Simmons Harden discussion. Like it's so back and forth. Like Steve Nash last week said, we're not getting rid of James Harden. You know, he's a big piece of what we need to do to win a championship, so we're not going to ship him off. But
Mhm.
then I'm pretty sure the last game Harden played against the Kings, he scored 4 points and like didn't even want to be out there. He is dealing with a hamstring injury, but it's pretty clear just like with what Kyrie's doing and
Yep.
Durant hurt that Harden like probably doesn't want to risk like come playoff time something happening to them that happened to them last year when they had injuries and lost to the Bucks. But everyone thought this is the team that is going to win a championship because of their big three, and now look at they're just like slowly like falling downhill. Like Kyrie doesn't want to play. I mean, Kyrie doesn't want to get the vaccine. Harden doesn't want to be in Brooklyn anymore. Durant's probably going to be shipped off if you know if depending on his injuries. And it's just like my guess is going to be no. But like, do you think something's going to happen with Harden in the next 5 hours or so?
I think the odds are no. The reason for that is, and honestly, like, if you asked me yesterday, it really seemed like it was heating up. Like, there were multiple reports from like Brian Windhurst, from Windhurst and others that basically like Harden's basically yelling like in his camp, like, get me out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Sixers were basically telling them he's leaving this offseason anyway. You might as well get something back for him. But then it was completely rebuffed by Woj, which makes me think that, I mean, I trust Woj. It's like the Schefter of the NBA. Like, if Woj comes out and says there were no trade talks, I believe him. Like, I think it was bullshit. I don't think that it's really happening, but I do think that someone is stirring the pot that like may probably from the Sixers to try to get the Nets to budge and, you know, start talking to them about it.
Yeah.
With that said, I don't think it happens today. I think Harden very well could be a Sixer come this offseason, but it not going to happen this season, I don't think.
Yeah. It's also the other thing the Nets need to consider is even if they somehow pulled off a trade with us, is there any guarantee that like Simmons is going to play for them? Like, you want to get a player that you know is going to play for you, and like, I don't care how good he is. Like, this is something I've lived by in every sport I've played. Like, I don't care how good you are. If you're not a team player, we don't care how good you are. We don't want you to be a part of this team. Like, that's, you know, a motto I live by. But you know, I don't know why anybody would want Simmons with the shenanigans he's been doing this past year. Even if Simmons were to come back to the Sixers this year, I don't even know if I'd want him to play based off his behavior. But
Sixers fans would tear him apart.
They would, and he doesn't want to play for a city who's going to treat him like that. In all fairness, but I was talking to my dad about this the other day. Like, even if he were to like play for us, who knows how well he's going to play? And then he'd probably, like, it's possible with how well Tyrese Maxey's playing, he'd come off of the bench, and then we trade him away, and wherever he ends up, he's going to find a jump shot and be one of the top point guards in the league.
Totally agree.
From the rumors I've heard, the Nets were saying, like, if they are even in trade talks, they wanted Simmons, Thibault, Maxey, and a first-round pick. And we're just not doing that. Like, Maxey's untouchable right now. The Sixers made that pretty clear. Like, he's like, I think he's been a better point guard than Simmons has been in his whole career in Philly, just with what he's been doing this past season. It's a hot take, but
That's a really hot take, but I do like Maxey a lot.
He's maybe on the offensive side. Like Simmons is still a beast. Like he's just so big and strong, and he can get to the rim whenever he wants to. He's just like needs to be more like aggressive in terms of a scorer. He's made his presence known on the defensive side. But Maxey's been playing great this year, so we'll see what happens. But the odds that a trade happens are very slim.
I think so too.
We covered Damian Lillard a little bit earlier.
Yep.
He doesn't want to leave Portland. He's out with an injury right now.
Such a weird rebuild. Also,
yeah, but very weird rebuild.
Yeah.
Some other notable players. Bradley Beal, I think, could potentially be traded. After John Wall.
I doubt it, though.
Yeah, who knows? With John Wall being gone, Bradley Beal he has a season-ending wrist injury, so he's done for the year. But I don't know. We'll see with him. He might, for the right price, could go to a competing team and really help them out big time.
I feel like this trade wouldn't happen before the deadline because it wouldn't help any other team this year. And also Wizards, he's been so loyal to them. So that would be a huge slap in the face if they traded him. But who knows? Business is business. So
yeah,
it could happen, but I just feel like it's super unlikely.
We'll see. The Kings, who have been shipping players off left and right. There's talks about Harrison Barnes. He's still a solid player, but when they brought him in from Dallas, he hasn't he's played some good games, but he's nothing special to me, in my opinion.
He's fine. He's a good role player. I don't know, even when he was on the Warriors, he was just a really good role player.
Yeah, he
was. He was a good role player. He's he'll get you 17 a game, probably 16 a game. And he's a very good 3-point shooter, good defender, and he's combo wing. But besides that, I don't think he's very special. Besides that, either. They came out and said something along the lines of they don't want to trade him though, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then going into a more of a point guard talk, there's Dennis Schroeder, who's with the Celtics.
Yeah, he's had some big games for the Celtics this year. So that, could be good trade bait for the Celtics.
To get him. He bet on himself. It didn't pay off, unfortunately, for him with the Lakers. The Lakers could use him right now, though, huh?
Yeah, big time.
Jesus. And then Goran Dragic, he's very much past his prime. Supposedly the Knicks are thinking about doing a 3-way trade with him. I know that how upset I am about this it's gonna freaking happen. I just know it. The Knicks, they're so stupid. They're gonna put Cam Reddish on the trade block after they just traded a 1st-round pick for him.
Yeah.
What?
Bye Kemba.
I don't think they'll get anything for Kemba. I think that they're gonna just ride it out with everyone except I think they're gonna trade Cam Reddish for Goran Dragic. I think it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna come here the next time we're talking, which will probably be next week, and I'm gonna say I absolutely not curse. I did my best. It's just it's so funny that the Knicks somehow have a crowded backcourt and front court, yet we suck. To that humble opinion, they need to ship off Julius Randle. I don't know. I think his general demeanor, I don't know if you saw that, he's similar to Tom Brady, but who can get away with this? But he slapped a tablet.
Yeah.
Or a computer. His demeanor is wrong for New York. And the second he thumbs down the Knicks fans, I was off. And I'm like, screw this guy.
Yeah. He is your best player, but they're
not good enough.
He hasn't been playing like it. Yeah. So they need to try to get a lot for him. I'd say.
Give Cam Reddish a shot. He was a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And they just, oh God, it's so aggravating. Anyway, moving on. Another guard out there who has been playing absolute buns. Russell Westbrook. Holy crap. Have you seen his stats in February?
It's atrocious.
It's embarrassing.
He's just like, I don't even know where he'd play well if the Lakers even traded for him, because
I don't know.
he is very talented, but like he's not the triple double machine he used to be anymore. He's just like he needs to step into a new role where he's just kind of like a distributor.
Yeah,
he's not getting
what
the
he
job
was.
done. No,
He's lost tons of explosiveness.
Mhm.
The issue for them and the reason he might not be traded is the only other person they can realistically trade for him is John Wall with the contracts matching. But for the Rockets, that really doesn't do anything.
Send Brody back to Houston.
Yeah, like that doesn't really help them at all. It just puts another disgruntled veteran point guard on that team who's making a stupid amount of money.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be ultimately LeBron's decision. But like, did you see the thing where he basically came out and ripped Vogel for not playing him?
Yeah.
Even though, look, again, he was like shooting 15% in February.
Yeah. He's been bad.
He's been bad. It's really tough to see because I really respect Westbrook and his competitiveness, and he's just
the Lakers do need to make a move. I don't know what they're going to get or what they would do, but they do need to try to make a move because as much as they've been struggling, and they're going to be after the All-Star break struggling, probably just even playing the playing game again for the second year in a row. But it's just like they got to keep AD healthy. At his age, like even though he's invincible, you can't be having LeBron try to score you 30 points every single game, playing 30 minutes or so, because just like it's going to catch up to him eventually. Probably not, knowing LeBron, but
dude,
they
he's
just
so old and
they have some good counterparts like a Horton Tucker, THT is a great player. Malik Monk needs to step it up a little bit. Carmelo's still playing decent for being Carmelo.
There's a retirement home.
They just said
in the beginning of the year, if you remember, and you said no. And I said they are a retirement home, and I don't see it.
They just need one more player. They just need one more guy out there. It's not Russell Westbrook. So I definitely would consider trading him and somebody else to try to get somebody out there. But
it's an interesting name that kind of has resurfaced. I don't know if he's really worth a roster spot at this point in his career, but Mario Chalmers.
Yeah, I saw him trying to get back into the league. I don't really know what he would do.
He was a really good fit for LeBron. Like
he was
knockdown 3-point shooter, great defender.
Yeah. And then really one last name to finish up the trade talks is Jeremy Grant. He's a stud on the Pistons. He's been really great the past couple of years, so he could really benefit any team well, both the offensive and defensive ends, where if somebody could try to land him.
Their asking price is a little high with 2 first-round picks. He's definitely a very good player. He almost made the All-Star. Or did he actually? He made the All-Star team last year, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
So he's been pretty good. I don't know where he would really fit in. He's kind of like a stretch 4, but he also is not a very great shooter. So, but he's played really well for the Pistons.
Yeah, he really has.
He'd be a solid.
After he got shipped off from Denver, once he went to Detroit, because they didn't really have anybody, he's one of their top players.
You know what? You know where he would be a really good fit? Denver.
Go back, send him back.
Denver is looking for a combo wing. So, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. And then, no, you actually forgot one.
What's that?
Doug Kopp, the free agent right now.
Oh, your dad, right?
Yeah. He's a part of the copies. If you haven't,
Doug Kopp's on the trading block. Valentine's Day coming up next week. So
that's right. His best attribute is his spirit.
His positive attitude, and boyish cute smile.
His super cute smile. The fact.
But yeah, just to wrap before we wrap things up, let's just get into like you brought it up real quick. The All-Star game's coming up next week or the week after. The starters were announced and the reserves, and I'll kind of just go through it quickly, Jay. And you can tell me if you agree with the picks or not. But I actually like that they do this a lot with I believe it's today, or it might be tomorrow, where they do so it's Durant and LeBron are the captains, and they just do like a fantasy draft, which I really like that a
I
lot.
kind of like it too.
It adds more of a competitiveness to it.
Mhm.
Durant isn't playing, but I assume he's still the captain and is still going to be picking the team. But from the East, Durant was named, starter, obviously, but he's hurt. So I believe his replacement is Jimmy Butler. Um, Giannis, obviously, Embiid. DeRozan was, not a surprise, but he's been really playing out of his mind this year.
He's played unbelievable.
So he deserves to be a starter. And then, as much as you and I hate to see this, Trae Young. So do you think those are, pretty accurate in terms of starters for the East?
Yeah, I probably would say so. I mean, DeRozan, the only one who I could see getting over him was Zach LaVine, who's on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, DeRozan's been unbelievable. And actually, I think the only reason that Zach LaVine wasn't in this starting list is because he was hurt for a little bit, and DeRozan was just, I mean, lights out, and their closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd change really anyone.
Okay. And then for the West, pretty self-explanatory right here. You got LeBron, who's the captain, Steph, who's been balling out, having an MVP type year, as well as Jokic. And then these two, like, you probably say one of them is a surprise to you. I think both of them are kind of a surprise to be named starters. I'll get into the reserves in a second, but John Moran and Andrew Wiggins being named starters.
Don't see it.
Both of those surprised me. Like, I think Ja does deserve to be an all-star, but not a starter.
I don't think he should be a starter.
Not at all. Andrew Wiggins, like, he's had a good year. I was like, if you look at it first and you're like, oh my God, Andrew Wiggins made the all-star team, that's a little bit surprising. You're like, no, he's a starter. Like,
yeah. I mean, those in my mind should have easily been replaced. Like, Morant's had a great year, but I don't think he's a starter. Like, he's definitely an all-star, but he's not a starter to me. And
the fact that he's starting over like Doncic or Booker is just
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying. Like, how could those two not be starting? Like, Doncic is literally one of the most talented players in the league, arguably one of the best players in the league. And Booker has been lights out this year again. And CP3 has been lights out. And I would take either of those two in the backcourt over Morant any day of the week. The only thing about Morant is he's really exciting. Like,
he's so athletic and exciting to watch. Like, whatever team he ends up playing for, he'll definitely be involved in some alley-oops.
Yeah, I mean, that's it though. Like, I feel like those, and then there were some snubs as well.
Let's talk about the reserves real quick before we get into the snubs. But just, we mentioned Booker, Doncic, CP3, Gobert's in, but he's been injured, so I think LaMelo Ball is replacing him. I saw that Draymond was on there, which is interesting. He's been hurt too. But
Draymond's so I never thought Draymond was that good.
Yeah, Draymond making the All-Star game is interesting. Donnie Mitchell obviously deserves to be out there. He's having a great year.
Can't wait.
Karl Anthony Towns is having a pretty good year, and then I saw DeJounte Murray's got a replacement call too.
Yeah. I like that pick. DeJounte Murray is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if he's an all-star, but he has been having a great year. So sometimes you just get those sleeper guys that make their way in. And then for the East, Darius Garland. I mean, he's another guy like Murray. Like, he's not an all-star in my eyes, but he's having an all-star type year. So that's why he made it. Yep. Harden, who's been very streaky, but he's James Harden, so he's
always gonna make it.
Yeah. Zach LaVine made it.
Deserved.
I thought maybe Vucevic deserved a chance, but maybe he just hasn't put up the numbers they wanted to see.
Yeah, probably.
This was an interesting one too. Chris Middleton. Like, there have been some guys on the Bucks, I think, like Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen, who have been playing better than he has. So I don't know if it's because of who he is and his name, but I don't know if he deserved to make it.
And Grayson Allen can't stop tripping people.
Grayson Allen just sucks, but
as a person. I hate
Yeah.
him.
And then you got Tatum, obviously. I'm very surprised Jaylen Brown didn't make the All-Star team.
That is nuts.
That's-
Jaylen Brown has had an insane year.
Mhm.
I love Fred VanVleet as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
But if you're saying Fred VanVleet or Jaylen
Yeah.
Brown, you take Jaylen Brown any day of the week.
100%.
I don't love that.
Yeah, and that's it for the East. And then the West, we got through that. So, and then some
Time for the
snubs. Like,
snubbies.
I don't know if you have any on your mind of some snubbies. The
Yeah.
only really like two that I was thinking of were Miles Bridges, who's had a good year for the Hornets, and then SGA, but he's hurt, so obviously he's not going to make it with his wrist injury.
Yeah, I think those are two good ones. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett,
Stop.
Evan Fournier.
Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson's been great. He's had an excellent last month.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, too bad they won't. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I think Jared Allen was a huge snub. I can't believe they didn't even give him a reserve. You put Ben Simmons on this list. I guess that's no worse than me putting Julius Randle on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I love SGA so much. I'd probably say the two biggest ones on here, Jared Allen. Yeah, Tyler Hero has been awesome, but wasn't he coming off the bench?
Yeah, he's 6-man.
So that's why he'll never get it.
Do you think Dame would have made it if he wasn't hurt, just because of his name?
Absolutely.
He hasn't been balling out this year when he played.
No, but half of it's a popularity contest. I mean, don't you remember when the Hawks were it was 4 of the 5 starters were in it? Jeff Teague was the only one I think who was snubbed, and then it was Kyle Korver. How did he make an All-Star team? Kyle Korver, love him, knockdown 3-point shooter, but no reason he was in there. Paul Millsap, Al Horford, and then whoever the hell their small forward was, I can't remember. Why can't I remember who that was? Anyway, whatever. So 4 out of the 5 were All-Stars that year, but it didn't really make any sense. I feel like I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, Kyle Korver only made the All-Star team that year because Dwayne Wade was hurt, so he replaced him. But
still made it.
That's like the Pistons one year when they had Billups, Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace all make the All-Star.
Yeah. Rasheed Wallace, ex-Nick. Tayshaun Prince, ex-Grizzly.
So, yeah, that's the All-Star game. And I don't know if you have any predictions for who will be the MVP of that game. Something just tells me it's going to be LeBron. But
yeah, I mean, it's a popularity contest still. It's probably LeBron. And then you think it's LeBron too, I assume, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be LeBron. And he's just going to dominate, be LeBron James.
So, who do you think will take the 3-point contest? I'm kind of bummed Steph Curry's not in it.
Yeah, that's really annoying. Steph's not in it, but it's Fred VanVleet, who's a great 3-point shooter. Desmond Bain, Luke Kennard, Zach LaVine, CJ McCollum, Patty Mills, Kitty Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, and Trae Young. I feel like Trae Young's probably the favorite, but McCollum's lights out. So I'd probably put my money on McCollum to win the 3-point contest.
I'm going sleeper Desmond Bain.
Oh, wow.
You heard it here first.
All right, let's see it. And then
so when I'm right, I win respect.
He's won respect. Put some respect on Copy's name, will you?
Copy Toppies. Which will bring you right now in the Copy Toppy of the week.
Which is?
Just kidding, we'll probably do. I don't know. The dunk contest?
We'll save it for next week. But
next
week?
Then
the dunk contest. I'm assuming you're going to go with your Nick, but
there's no way he's going to win it.
It's Obi Toppin, Jalen Green, Cole Anthony, which is interesting because I didn't even know Cole Anthony could dunk. And then Juan Tusco Anderson. Jalen Green is just an animal, so I'm assuming he's going to be the favorite to win this, but who knows?
I'd imagine it's probably Jalen Green.
Yeah,
I can't pick Obi Toppin. When is it ever a power forward, except for Blake Griffin?
Wasn't he in it last year?
Yeah, he's never won. Or has he won? No, I don't think he has. Well, whatever.
Whatever.
All right. Well, this has been episode 10 of JumpStart Sports, a Valentine's Day special. So
Love is in the air, and so
love
is
is in the air.
basketball.
Give a special shout out to Marin.
Oh boy,
Love you. Give a special shout out to
my
Steven
mom.
Shoemaker's dad. Oh, that's a different one. Valentine's Day is coming up. More important than that, though, is the Super Bowl. Am I right?
I'd say
Ladies
so.
out there. So go give someone a kiss, even if you don't know them. Strangers love that. No?
On that note, make sure to like and subscribe, and go get yourself some chocolates for all the lonely people out there.
Yeah, get yourself one rose and light a candle.
All right, Jay. I'll see you for the next epi.
All right. On to the next JumpStart Sports.